Hey, just a thought that popped into my head. When the WWE went to the PG era back in 2004, many people moaned and groaned at the idea of the WWE becoming a family-friendly company. Yet, here in 2021, WWE still provides ratings. For Raw, if you believe the internet wrestling community, maybe the worst show ever on television. I don't know why that is. They just say that it is. Can consistently pull a 1.7 rating, while SmackDown pulls closer to a 2 every week. However, for modern day internet wrestling fans, a 2 million average isn't big enough. They want more like 3 to 4 million, or for it to stay in a consistent range between 2 million and 2.5 million. Hate to tell you guys, but the days of that are long since gone. We have to face the facts. Wrestling is niche. It is niche beyond niche. Even though WWE has stretched its casual muscles as far as it can possibly go, even at its height, it's at its most nichey. And part of this is for 4 reasons. One, the wrestling fans that grew up in the 80s, i.e., myself, are nostalgic, reminiscent, and wanting of the old days. Not because of wrestling's quality, no. It's a culture thing. It's the world we live in. Nostalgia has taken over most things. The economy is down, college is a joke, finding a job is difficult, video games aren't the fantastic art form that they once were. No, it's because we are nostalgic because we want those days to return again. Those days of simpler times when you wouldn't have to think about it. Things were good, money and food was constantly on the table, and wrestling was in one of its many, 2 so far, golden ages. We just want a third golden age. Something that we can be nostalgic if we can ever get off our lazy ass enough to procreate, if you can see the numbers that are being produced there. We just want wrestling to be shared throughout generations. Many people think that AEW is a grand solution to WWE's stagnation problem. Newsflash. This is not personal opinion. This is not facts. This is the real. I'll take you all the way back to 1995. WCW was an upstart company with no grounding in a TV network in TBS and TNT. Ironic, isn't it? Trying to break into the WWE's massively cultural, massively pop-centric empire. For a time, it broke through and made noise. Exactly 83 weeks it made noise. It made noise because back in those days, 80s kids like myself were evolving into the teenagers that were practicing our Kamehamehas and watching Sailor Moon and getting our boners while trying to understand the lyrics of Kurt Cobain, and trying to be edgy. WCW provided just the edge that was needed for growing up kids like me. and we loved it. WCW, however, got pivoted when the WWE used their massive brand power, bigger stars, and further reach to ultimately choke out the competition. They adapted. They evolved. WCW did not, and they died. Fast forward to 2004, WWE evolved again, but this time not in the way that wrestling fans were expecting. They evolved into a more marketable, more casual friendly, more, I guess, buttoned up product. Something that could be easily sold to marketers in that coming boom of the internet, as the internet was growing traction, and websites like YouTube were on the horizon but not there yet. WC, but also this was combined with the WWE becoming a publicly traded stock company back in 2001. Remember when they had the WWE New York and they rang the bell on the stock exchange? Yes, that day changed the WWE's casual face for freaking ever. A new reverberation that is still being felt to this very day, unfortunately to some of us wrestling fans. But as time grew, the WWE got more and more popular thanks to John Cena and its more casual approach. They guessed right. But what the WWE didn't suspect was thanks to a little website called YouTube, the WWE would be faced with an even greater and more invincible challenge: fan immediate discourse. This has been something that the WWE has failed to pivot to. AEW has tried to pivot into it, but has pivoted right into a sinkhole. Its wrestlers don't like the toxicity, and the corporate on the AEW side doesn't know really how to use it. They half-ass most of it. Now, AEW, thanks to the announcement of Rampage, plus a change in network, has to evolve again. It's trying to rapidly grow when its fan base is only about 1.2 million strong, which is not what you want. But WWE does about 1.7 million on average, and NXT, well, they can't stay above 700 grand consistently. Many people blame the product, the lack of characters, the lack of good booking, the overbooking of championship matches. We're looking at you, BC Amplified, but no. Instead of blaming all these things, maybe we should all look in a mirror reflectively. You see, the internet wrestling community fails to read the room. Not of the WWE. They do that supposedly well enough. Where they fail is they fail to read their own room. The internet wrestling community is not only toxic, which true, it's the worst form of tribalistic. See, wrestling used to be divided into 2 tribes. Now, it's more divided into 6 tribes. The casual WWE fan, the casual AEW fan, the boomer things were better in the Attitude Era, hardcore AEW fan, the WWE loyalist fan, and fans of indie stuff. Name it. And the small batch of fans that will just watch everything that is wrestling, the small 2%. These 6 tribes are separated not only by the TV shows they watch, but how they watch them, whether it be on TV, streaming services, internet, you name it, even by word of mouth. The division of the wrestling fan has led to these kinds of numbers. This is not a hot take. Some of you might think it is. But this is the reality. And soon, the internet wrestling community will have to come face to face with this reality. 1.7 million for Raw is the peak of what modern wrestling can do. Even if it changed its direction, even if WWE got more hardcore, fans would leave saying that they would just call it a AEW knockoff with more hours to burn. Even if it had better characters. Most modern day wrestling fans, especially the younger of us, don't care about characters. They just want great in-ring matches. Get to the match. The reason why the WWE shows and AEW shows don't do nearly as well as the pay-per-views is because most of the casual fans don't care about the week-to-week. They hear about the great match being born, i.e., Pinnacle versus Inner Circle Stadium Stampede. They hear the internet discourse about it, and without watching any of the booking, they just go straight into the match. Because they don't need to watch every week. Why? Because they trust some internet schmuck like a BC or a Polana Productions or a JD from New York to tell them that they should like this. They put all their value into it and they skip directly to the match without watching the week to week. And because the matches at pay-per-views, especially now thanks to the influx of young talent, overly excel, the pay-per-views do extremely well. But notice, the pay-per-view success has a failure to stick. Why? Because the internet casual fan is waiting for the next big pay-per-view where they're guaranteed to get the next A plus to B plus match guaranteed. They don't care what the match is. They just care that when it's time to ring the bell, that it delivers. Oddly enough, a mindset that I've had for over 30 years. Yes, wrestling fans like myself are to blame for the reason why wrestling ratings are inconsistent. Because we don't care about the setup. We don't care about the payoff. And the younger and younger wrestling fans go, the less and less they trust the process. You see, wrestling fans in the 21st century don't say trust the process. They say there is no process. Only the promise. And as long as the promise excels, they don't care about the process, the character creation, the step-by-step, the moment-to-moment. Part of this is because of the very YouTube and Twitter reactionary culture that this video is going into. In other words, the very culture and the wrestling fans that it has given access to our beloved sport to are the very reason why wrestling in a traditional sense has died. It's not Vince McMahon, it's not the bookers, it's not even the promotions. It's a combination of tribalism, evolution, a lack of patience, and a lack of appreciation and care about the process. Process is only part of it. It's not all of it. So, how do we fix it? Well, we fix it by simply learning our history, caring about our history, and choosing to enjoy the things in wrestling we care about. It's time to put the mics down and the tribal sticks, because it is the very tribalism of what is right and what is wrong that will lead wrestling to its doom. Wrestling is wrestling. Internet is the internet. Yes, the internet may have given us a stage to speak on, and sometimes it can be helpful. But that stage is filled with the uneducated. We should not educate them on what's right or what is wrong, what is good booking and what is bad booking. Instead, we should be teaching the wrestling fans of the younger youth to find passion, to evolve the notion of wrestling passion. What ignites your fire? Is it character? Is it wins and losses? Is it the show you watch? Is it hardcore or casual? Is it the fact that your wrestler is a movie star or not? Is it a streaming service? Is it YouTube videos? Or is it just opinion videos like this one? We should be asking the wrestling fans of the new generation to ignite their passion in whatever way they see fit. Not ask them to fall into the same tribalistic traps that may have one day gotten us passionate about the sport, but no longer does it overall. The reason why the anime fandom grows stronger and stronger is because the internet fandom in anime understands that the passion ignited is the same. Their love for the genre is the same. They've just found a way to ignite their passions differently. Whether it's through sakuga animation, whether it's through great voice work or plots, whether it's through reading the manga or not, whether it's through fan fiction or fan dubs, or even Rule 34. The passion for anime, much like the passion for my brony fandom, comes in many different forms. Wrestling fans need to understand that wrestling fandom comes in many different forms. Who cares if the ratings are 1.7 million? That's 1.7 million people or more that have decided to take the old school way of igniting their passion. Who cares what their ages are? We should accept that there are multiple ways to ignite a passion in entertainment, not just one or two. Maybe then we can finally solve wrestling's greater problem. It's not that wrestling fans are not passionate, it's that we're passionate for the wrong reasons. Just a thought.